Good morning. July 5th, 2023, the day after the U.S. Independence Day. Let's see, do I have, yeah, that one's muted. These panels are muted, so now I'll get a, I need to lock that frame so I don't accidentally move it like that, don't I? Now I'll get an audio check. Here we go. Yep. Windows Daily number 248. Got some things to show and tell, and then I'll go catch up with the chat room. I'm going to start with emails that I have flagged for today. Look there, I got a black screen. Oh, good grief, Miss Molly. I thought I checked all this over. It says again, desktop not available. That's the same thing that happened yesterday. Hang on. There it is. Caramba. Don't ask me, I only work here. William Dawson sent an email asking, how do you make a webcam work? When I click into that, it doesn't reveal his email address. So he says, how far can you live stream with a webcam using a USB extension cable? What's the punchline? It sounds like the lead in for a joke. No, I know it's a straight up question. I do have information about that. I can't say that I've studied the subject, but I've done some work along those lines. This right here is a cable that's about 30 feet long, and I connect about another 7 foot of webcam to that when I'm working in the green room. It's what you know as Studio B. There's a webcam on a tripod over there, and that works perfectly fine. And I can stretch that all the way out into the living room, works perfectly fine. Now that's a USB 2.0 webcam. I have not tried it with the USB 3.0 webcam. I think that's going to be more challenging because they need more power. However, in addition to that, I have all the USB devices that I use with Big Beast Build. Let me switch to this camera here. I have USB cables that run along those walls, run along 2 walls and back there, and then they join up with the desk. Oops, that just unplugged. Oh well, you get the idea. Oh, now the settings of this webcam changed again. Good golly, Miss Molly. Let me come over here to my Amazon. I'll stay on the subject of long USB cables for webcams. I have, listen, this one's a repeater cable, so it has some kind of power enhancement to it. This one actually plugs into a wall outlet. I have one of those. This one is a 25 foot USB 2.0 A to mini B connector. And then this one, these are all things that I have ordered in the past. So I have all of these. This one is, that's the one that I just showed you that's hanging up there that has this power enhancement, whatever it is. This one down here, active extension cable. So it also is some kind of power supplement. So I haven't had trouble with any of them, but I have had to maybe try it in a different USB port, because if you're plugged into a USB port on the computer that is shared with another USB port that's taking a lot of power, then that could be an issue. So sometimes just trying different USB ports on your computer can solve an issue. I'm trying to finish this subject before I move on to fixing my webcam, because yeah, that's a settings issue that I need to talk about next. The question was, how far can you live stream with a webcam using a USB extension cable? So the power, if you go over 30 feet, I think is when you need some kind of power supplement, or you need to be considering that. Now, is William Dawson even in the chat room today? Yes, he is. So William Dawson, did you have any more specific question about that I didn't address there. I'm going to move on to my settings for the webcam. So yesterday I futzed around after the live stream and I got the webcam set up beautifully. And then this morning I had troubles with the webcam when streaming Fortnite because that uses OBS. So I fixed the settings there. And then I got prepared for this show. And I went into XSplit and I had to make some adjustments. And then just before the show started, I turned this headset on and that changed the settings for my webcam. What? So I think that's what threw everything off yesterday. So come over here, I've got these notes. Oops, that's not the one I want to show. That's our next subject. Let's get over here to this one. This shows the settings that I've decided work for my webcam. Now, the headset threw this white balance off. So I'm going to try adjusting this white balance to 5007. I don't know if I can show you my work on that. Let's try that. If I come down to show, oh, no, I can't because I have to be on this scene and this scene doesn't show you, doesn't let me show you the settings change. So I'm right clicking on the stream cam and then go to video input and then white balance, and it went to 3400. So now I'm going to change it back up to the 5007 and that's where I want it to stay. But like you saw when I switched to that keyboard camera and then back to here, it seems to have changed the white balance. Now this doesn't quite look right to me. There's a little bit of a green tint that I think is there. This is a work in progress. What I currently have is my notes here. Brightness 18, contrast 0, hue 6, saturation 9. Now that's a different setting screen. I can show you. This is a setting screen in XSplit for the webcam. And then when I go to this option up here, that gives me access to change these settings, which gives me access to exposure and white balance right there. Now there you see 4567 because that's the number I came up with yesterday, but I have since then changed to 5007. I think that looks better than this one at 4567. If you look at the way that looks there compared to the way this looks now with the 5007, but it looks a little green to me. How come turning my headset on changes the white balance? I don't get that. Next subject I want to move on to. Let's see. I had an email from myself to myself over here about virtual memory because yesterday I turned off my virtual memory. I virtually can't remember anything anymore. Here's this. So I got these 4 screenshots. This one before changing to no paging file. Then here there is an error that occurred during turning off, disabling the paging. And then here's making the change. And then here's after the page file is gone and after reboot. So here what I'll point out. So this was while I was still set at automatically managed paging file size for all drives. Minimum allowed 16 megabytes, recommended 32 gigabytes. Currently allocated 16 gigabytes. Well, that's all my computer would ever allocate. It would never go above that because I never ran out of actual RAM memory. I have 256 gigabytes of actual RAM memory. It's been my impression, and I haven't proven this, but it's my impression that if you have the paging file turned on, if you have virtual memory turned on, then the Windows operating system automatically moves some of your active content to virtual memory even before you run out of RAM memory. In my thinking, my logic says that, okay, if Windows is automatically moving some things that you're active, that you have open to virtual memory just because you're not using it right now. When you switch back to it, it's got to move it back from virtual memory into active memory because the CPU cannot directly interact with virtual memory on your storage media. It's got to move it back into active memory. That is some overhead. That is some time. So since I never use all of my 256 gigabytes of memory, I never actually need virtual memory. However, if you get a blue screen, in order for the system to store information there about the crash, that swap file needs to be there. I think somebody said that in chat room anyway. I haven't researched that. Also, when I did research about turning off virtual memory, it said that some programs may not work efficiently with that. Well, they didn't say why that is. I think the reason for that is because if you ran out of real RAM memory, it can't move part of its programming off to virtual memory. I will never run out of actual working memory. And it also said if you have a program that's leaking memory, you'll run into a problem. Well, that's because you run out of real memory and it needs to be able to store some things off into virtual memory if there's a memory leak. Well, it's unlikely that I have a program that has a memory leak. And if I do, I need to deal with that anyway. And first it has to fill up that 256 gigabytes of memory before that becomes an issue. So I thought maybe technically I might have some improvement in performance by turning that off. Realistic Doug says, yeah, but you're probably not sensitive enough to ever notice that. So I don't know. I turn it off, see what happens. Just be interesting to see how the computer behaves after that. So here, I want to point out over here, here's page file sys. That is the file that contains, let's see, page file? Yeah, page file, that's the one. Here's swap file sys down here. So these both are, this one is, as megabytes, that's 16 gigabytes there. And this one is, swap file is 16 megabytes of memory. Now then if I right arrow to the next photo, here's the error I said. Error when I tried to turn off the paging. I got this error message when I click the OK button. Go back here one. When I remove this check mark, and then I click no paging file and then click set and then click OK. That's when I got this message. So I click to ignore, error applying that change to page file sys. Then right arrow once more. This shows after the reboot. So after the reboot, I have no paging file. Oh, that's interesting. It still says currently allocated. Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, I haven't rebooted yet. This is making the change. No paging file, click set. And I got this message. If you disable the paging file or set the initial size to less than 1 megabyte and a system error occurs, Windows might not record details that could help you identify the problem. Well, the thing is, nobody ever goes, I never go look at that file. I never go look at, I've tried. I've researched it. It's extremely complicated. So do you want to continue? Yes, I did. And here's the page file and swap file still there. Right arrow once more to go to the next photo. And then here is after the reboot, no paging file here, currently allocated 0 megabytes. So total paging file size for all drives is 0 megabytes. And over here, both the page file and the swap file are gone. So both of those files automatically gone by virtue of disabling that. Yeah, we'll see how Big Beast Build performs down the road. That's all of those pictures. Now I think I'm ready to go back to chat because I think that's all the stuff that I had set up to present for today. The end of chat, nobody telling me anything's going wrong, so I'll start at the top. 4:08 a.m. this morning, Robert says, good morning, afternoon. Chris, Jenny. Chris says, I will be doing a live stream today. Some may be interested, some not. Please try and support. I'm going to pin Chris's message, and that shows his live stream there. Starts in 75 minutes. He's going to delete System 32 on real hardware and messing around with older computers. That sounds like fun. He's got a thumbnail that says keep calm and delete System 32. That sounds like a great adventure, Chris. And let's see, that is my channel on a different account. Yeah, this is here he shows up as Chris Garrett. Over here he shows up as computers, etc. That is my channel on a different account. Ken South says, if I'm back, I will watch Chris. Chris says, Doug, I hope you don't mind me advertising my channel. Sorry, I've not been around much at 12 p.m. my time. That is usually when I go get lunch and bring it home for my mother. 12 p.m. his time is this stream right now. Chris Nullhead, no sweat. Don't worry about it. You have no obligation to be here during the live stream. Always happy when you are, of course. And no, I don't mind you, any of you. Well, you have to be blue, so you have to have been recognized as a good person. But yeah, any of you, you're welcome to advertise your channel here. Chris says, I do try to make it back by the end of the stream. Sometimes idiots hold me up going to the fast food. I see people just staring at the order sign. I don't understand. Well, that's because you're stupid. Oh, did I say that out loud? Going to fast food, I just see people staring at the order sign looking like they are confused. Chris, those are my people. Those are my people right there. Staring at the order sign, looking like they are confused. Nick Poverman, I saw a store with a sign that read, watch batteries installed, $5. But who would pay to watch batteries being installed? Good one. Greg M, seems plugging USB 3.2 Gen 1, 5 gigabits per second hub into a USB 3.2 Gen 2, 10 gigabits port degrades the write speeds. Well, I think there's more to your story there, Greg. If your 3.2 Gen 1 5 gigabits plugged into a 10 gigabits port, of course you're going to get the slowest speed of the parts that are involved. So you can't get over 5 gigabits because your 5 gigabits hub is a bottleneck. Now, beyond that, what are you trying to write to? Are you trying to write to a thumb drive that's plugged into the hub, or a NVMe M.2 drive that's in an external enclosure, or an external drive? What speed does that drive normally get? Plugging directly into a USB port on a computer is always a safer bet. The 5 gigabits hub, is that 5 gigabits between the hub and the computer, or is the hub promising you 5 gigabits through each device that you have connected to it? If you have other devices connected to that hub at the same time that you're trying to run a speed test to the one device that you have connected to one of the ports on the hub, then your speed's going to be shared by those other ports. So don't have the full picture here of what your scenario is, and what speed were you expecting to get, what were you degraded to. So if you want to give us more on that, I'd be interested to see how your experience go. I'm not sure if you're asking a question. Maybe you're just giving us an observation. But if you are giving us an observation, I'd like to have more detail about the observation. Rick likes, hello, Alice, hello, Chris, everyone. Josh says, hi, Doug, are we still on for Friday? Josh, I never said Friday, I said Saturday. We can do some time on Saturday outside of my normally scheduled times, and we'll communicate on Saturday to pick a time, but I never offered Friday. Friday is not a good time for me. And you did that last week too. You had a live stream scheduled on Friday that had my name in the title. I don't think I ever offered you Friday. If I did, that was a misspoke, or one of the other Dougs misspeaking, because Friday's not a good day for me. Mike, to do a session with you. Mike Wojcik, hello. And what that's about is I'll do a fortnight session with Josh, and it's a teaching session. Rather than having him come join us when, frankly, he's not able to keep up with us. So Josh, I need to teach you more. You need to be able to keep up with the partners and find them. And so that's what I want to work with you more on Saturday. And if any of the others who play Fortnite with us and Josh want to join in on that session, you'd be welcome to. Selden Ball, greetings here. William Dawson, Chris, hello. Speedy C, hello. Rick Lakes, William, John Williams. Skimming through these a little bit. Dennis, a little bit of red ink, I think. Not sure what that's in reference to. Hello in chat. Maybe the orange is highlighted. Must be old Elevator Doug changing the setting in Windows Capture, maybe. Rand Israel agreeing with that. Dustin Fuller. Hello, Dustin. Boy, I recognize that name. Do I recognize you from Carrie's channel? Hello, Doug, and all in chat. Nick Poverman, I must be a computer. I have lots of memory leaks at my age. Good one. Use WinBG to look at. Oh, nobody has a stream scheduled after my show. Last I looked. Use WinDBG to look at small memory dumps. Small memory dumps. Yeah, I've looked into the debugger. I've looked into that, but then go look into that. And is there anything that you can really make sense out of that? I just looked like a lot of work for not much info. Chris says, thanks about promoting his channel. Rand Israel, I prefer blue screen view by Nersoft. Blue screen view is easier, but not always correct in its determination of cause. Doug calls his bot estúpida. Estúpida. That was when my watch said something to me. Chris Garrett, this person, this female name beginning with an A, does not understand. That wasn't that person. This was the other one. This was Siri. I can say Siri because if I don't precede it with the word hey, then she doesn't wake up. Does not understand is. I thought you weren't going to listen to me. I didn't say, oh, whatever. Is she the one who sits for 5 minutes staring at the sign? Greg M. On the 5 gigabits per second, the SanDisk Cruiser Flash gets 340 megabits per second, not bytes per second. I think that would be bits per second, wouldn't it? Gets 340 megabits per second, whereas 10 gigabytes per, that should be bits, gives me 213 megabits per second. Only one device. Okay, now I'm going to assume those are all bits rather than bytes because I think that's the case. No, he says bytes. It is megabytes per second. Okay, then megabytes, you got to translate that to megabits. Multiply the 340 megabytes per second by 8 to get the equivalent in bits. The SanDisk Cruiser flash drive gets 340 megabytes per second, whereas 10 gigabytes per second gives me 213 bytes per second, only one device. I'm straining to grasp this. Let me first go over and make sure that nobody's got a stream or a oh, wait a minute. Chris Garrett, can I, if Chris has, can I do a redirect to Chris's show? And I don't think so, because I think you have to have a, well, no, he might be able to. You have to have 1,000 subscribers in order to do a redirect. The target channel doesn't have to have 1,000, but the target channel has to allow redirects. So Chris, to allow redirects, I think you go into your studio and then settings, and then maybe channel, advanced settings. Where is that? To allow people to redirect to your channel. I don't think it would be community. Is it customization? You have to somewhere allow others to redirect to you. I don't know where it is. All right. If you figure that out before the end of the stream, let me know and I'll redirect to you. But there's, I've got it pinned. I got your link pinned up there. On the 5 gigabits per second, Sand Cruiser gets 340. So 340 times 8 is 3.2 gigabits per second. 3.2 gigabits per second, whereas 10 gigabytes per second, if I did that math quick and right, whereas 10 gigabytes per second gives me 213 megabytes per second. That's bytes. Is this one bit? But here, this is 5 gigabits per second, and here he's referring to 10 gigabytes per second. 10 gigabytes per second would only be what? Would be 30 gigabits. Oh, no, my brain's not working there. I'm not going to try doing that anymore. I can do that better when I'm not trying to live stream at the same time. I see Blue Mini Doug has moved position. He's not sitting on the shelving unit anymore at the room in the back, LOL. He's above shelving unit. Yeah, I moved the desk position a little bit, so I had to pick new places for the Mini Dougs. That was from Speedy C. Jeff, good morning. Camera more red. Oh, Dennis is seeing more red. Okay, I was saying green, but yeah, you might be right. More red. But you know what I did? Is I looked to do a check. I held up my arm to see how my color of my arm is. And as I'm looking at the image on the screen there, my arm looks whiter than it does here. Here it looks a little more tan to me, to my eyeballs. But I noticed there's a little green round spot on my arm. And that's weird. There must be some green added in. And I looked at my arm. No, there actually is a bruise there. A little green. I guess it's a bruise. Carrie has a live stream scheduled for later today. Really? How did I not see that? Redirect. I don't see it there. If I come over to here, Carrie, no, there's no live. There's this Career Hosman /live. There's no live stream scheduled. Is it a members only? No. I don't know where you think he has a. Oh yeah, here's one. That's 1 day ago, members only. No, there's no stream scheduled for Carrie. Josh, I misheard you about the Friday. Chris, I had to pause. I'm on the phone setting up a new phone and number. Greg said it's megabytes per second. Nick, sorry, that was a mistake about Carrie. Wintermute, make use of, what's this one about? How to solve blue screen errors using WinDBG. Yeah, every time that I've gone digging into those, it just seems very time consuming compared to throwing mud at the wall if you have suspicions. Wintermute, have you had multiple successes going down those roads of when you go, if a blue screen gives you points you towards some device or something, then that kind of points you that direction and you go looking at those kinds of things. And he says, yes, he has had successfully of that. All right, so maybe we'll pursue that with your assistance down the road. Greg says 5 gigabits per second is 625 megabytes per second. So yeah, divide 5 gigabits by 8 to get, yeah, that sounds about right. Let's see, 8 times 6, 56. Yeah, that sounds about right. Chris, they called me. I tried to activate one of my old numbers. It's been years ago. Since I had that number, it's a bunch of trouble. Alice, it's not coming up for me either. Yeah. Oh, for Carrie's show. Carrie's running errands, has appointments. Yes. Well, that about runs us to the half hour. No shows tomorrow for me. I am on my summer cabin schedule. A little different than previous years. Previous years, I took equipment up with me to the cabin. I would stay 2 nights, 3 days, and I would do live streams from there. that was just a lot of work. So what I'm doing this year is I'm going up for an overnight stay, and I'm not taking any big equipment with me. I'm just taking my little Microsoft Surface 3 laptop, the old laptop, because I can connect remotely to clients' computers with that laptop. It works fine for that. And I can connect remotely to Big Beast Build and Baby Beast from the cabin. Yes, there will be a show on Friday, Alice. But today's Wednesday, so no show on Thursday, no Fortnite, no Windows Daily, no premieres. And I'm not doing any fishing, Greg M. I'm not a fisherman, but I do some experiment with some hiking. Thank you, Alice, for the wishes for a nice trip. There's my email address if you'd like to send a question by email that I respond to during a live show. And what else? You can also put questions into chat room during a live show, or you can put comments on videos. That's the way to ask questions. And there's Chris's link at the top of the chat room. When I end the stream, you're not going to be redirected to any place, so you got a little bit to click on his link. He's not starting that right away, but just keep a tab open. When he starts, his audio will start coming through if you have it not muted. All right. There we go. Catch you guys on Friday. Have a great day. Goodbye.